excellent game last night if you're a Buffalo Bills fan. That one was super fun. Rams definitely have some things to clean up, so we were talking about that today. But Perloff, as we look ahead to the rest of the weekend in the NFL, got a little bit of an appetizer last night, and then we get the whole thing on Sunday, and then obviously Monday with Denver and Seattle. But want to focus in right now on the second-year quarterbacks, because this is a time when guys either become that franchise QB or they become a flop. So we're going to play a little game called Franchise or Flop, just with the second-year quarterbacks. And let's start with Trevor Lawrence, because he was the number 1 overall pick last year, and things couldn't have gone worse for him in his first season. I'm going franchise quarterback for Trevor Lawrence because there was so much wrong with Urban Meyer as his being the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't know how anyone could have succeeded in an environment like that. They did a major talent influx in free agency. They've been picking at the top of the draft for a long time. If those draft picks can pan out, I think Trevor Lawrence shows franchise quarterback potential this season.
Okay, so define the terms. He doesn't have to be a franchise quarterback this year. He doesn't have to be a Pro Bowler this year. You just need to see the potential where it's positive.
I mean, it might be hard to make a Pro Bowl, but because there's so much talent in the AFC.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like when all of a sudden you're like, oh, this is going to be our quarterback for the next 10 years.
Absolutely.
Or you're looking like, oh my gosh, we're going to be looking for another quarterback in a year.
This is a total cop-out, but Trevor Lawrence gets a red shirt because of what you just said. Mm-hmm. I feel like this is his first year, not his second year. So even
senior.
Even if he throws like 18 touchdowns and 14 picks, I think that's fine. I think the bar is not that high for him. Definite franchise.
Well, he tied Stafford last year, right? Leading the league in interceptions. So only throwing 14 picks might not be, well, it's still a lot. It's still a lot.
Right.
Stafford threw 3 last.
He doesn't need a Patrick Mahomes 40 touchdown season to be what the Jags want. So it's funny, I have a little bit, he's a number 1 pick, and I have a little bit of a lower bar because of that situation. I really feel like he gets the benefit of the doubt for the same exact reason you said. 1 year of Urban Meyer should buy you at least 2 years to prove yourself.
Okay, let's move on. Zach Wilson. Now, this is tough because we know Zach Wilson now is not going to be starting for the New York Jets. That's going to be Joe Flacco. Jets try to do this weird oopsie-doop with everybody, I guess, where they're doing some gamesmanship. They're playing the Baltimore Ravens this weekend. At first, they said Zach Wilson may be ready to go week 1, even though he was coming off a rather significant knee injury. And then they completely reversed course the next day and said, no, he's not going to be ready till at least week 4. Zach Wilson, franchise or flop, Perloff?
Flop. And I'll tell you why. It's not Zach Wilson. He looks really talented to me. They're showing highlights on CBS Sports Network. He just looks like a good quarterback. It's the Jets. And I love Joe Douglas. I think he's the man. I just feel like this team is snake bitten, and it's going to be really hard, especially because he's going to lose the beginning part of this year. It's going to be really hard to build positive momentum this year. And let's say they're bad again, and say 4-13 this year.
Yeah.
There's just losing begets losing, and there's something wrong there, and it's not going to be good. And I see him getting off to a bad start this year. He's missed a lot of practice, and it's not his fault at all. I just don't see how this situation works out for him.
Okay, I'm going to go franchise here.
Okay.
And I understand what you're talking about with the Jets, and it took me a while to come around on Joe Douglas, quite frankly. He came in with this amazing reputation, but I didn't quite see it in his first draft. It was just not that impressive. But right now, I think they've actually made some really good moves here. It seems like it's coming together. The offensive line is much better. They have some weapons on the offensive side, and that defensive front might actually be a thing. Like that, they could be something. I don't know how many wins they're going to have this year, but it could be something. I think the Jets finally, after years and years and years in the quarterback desert, finally do get a quarterback that will receive a second contract, right? Like that will, I know Mark Sanchez got a contract extension, but gets a significant big contract from the Jets. I've got more hope than Mike Samter, the resident Jet fan.
Man, I wish that you're right. I like every Bills fan who's been looking for a quarterback since Jim Kelly. I hope you're right, but the guy can't throw like a wide open running back check down like 4 yards away from him. He's got all the arm talent. It's like Jeff George or Kyle Bowler. They can make all the throws. They look great in shorts and a t-shirt, but like when you're there behind the line and you have to make a really intense throw between receivers, I worry.
But that was a rookie year. That was a rookie year.
And his first two series before he got hurt this preseason.
In the preseason. He was deer in headlights last year, like all rookie quarterbacks go through those growing pains. Yes, he could not hit the ocean from the beach, but I think he's still franchise. Okay, let's move on. If he ever plays this year. Hopefully he gets in. Okay, next up, your boy, Trey Lance, Perloff. Yeah. I think I know where you're going with this one.
I don't know anymore.
Really?
Yeah, I feel
you're
like
going to sit on the fence?
I feel like the Niners do this. They get lost in their own heads. The front office seems like a mess right now. I don't know. The fact that they kept Jimmy G makes me think that they don't know what they're doing, and I'm not so sure about Trey Lance's future there. I think he's a franchise quarterback somewhere, but I'm really not impressed by their offseason. I think Trey Lance is going to be good this year. I think he's going to run a lot, and it's going to be effective. But I honestly, the Niners seem like they don't have a plan that they stick to anymore.
Wait, but hold on. If you think he's going to have a good season,
and you think
he's a franchise quarterback for somebody, why wouldn't they be able to overcome some of these front office snafus and he just plants himself as the starter?
Because he's going to be a young, mobile quarterback, and he's going to have that kind of success, like we saw with Vince Young, like we saw with Tim Tebow, like we've seen with Lamar Jackson, frankly. He's going to use his wheels, and he's going to get probably 800 yards rushing if he stays in there. And with San Francisco having the awesome defense, it's going to win a lot of games. But, listen, Carson Wentz started off well. I could go show me Baker Mayfield had a great. I just not sure he's going to get a second contract there.
Wow. Okay, so who do you think then is going to be the quarterback? Because they're not going to commit long-term to Jimmy G.
I think Kyle Shanahan is started a pattern off where he's never going to be happy, and he's just going to go guy after guy after guy. I think he's going to be like that 30-year-old single guy who just thinks he can do better and can't settle. All of
a sudden is 45 and not married. Yeah.
I mean, the thing that I found it embarrassing that they did 2 going away press conferences for Jimmy G, and he's in 49ers uniform on the sideline this week.
It's awkward. It's not a good look.
Yeah, I feel like they don't know what they're doing. I feel like they're not going to be happy with Trey Lance. They're not going to be happy with Jimmy G. They might even win a Super Bowl with these guys. And remember, this is the same team. It's not the same team. But remember when they got rid of Trent Dilfer in Baltimore and brought in Elvis Gerbach?
Yeah.
I get that kind of energy from...
Okay, so here's a question that you and I have never talked about. If it's between Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, the coach and the general manager for the 49ers, who do you think stays longer?
I don't think there's any separation. I think Lynch works for Shanahan. I think I don't think there's going to ever be a war between the two of them.
Wait, but if Lynch works for Shanahan, I thought that it was Lynch who wanted Trey Lance, and it was Shanahan who wanted Mac Jones. How would the GM have won that very crucial decision if Shanahan is the ultimate guy?
Because, one, we don't know what really happened. And for every 49ers reporter and every Mike Lombardi who says that that's exactly what happened, there's 5 49ers reports who say that's not what happened at all. So I don't know. Maybe it's possible. I don't think it was a war where Lynch and who was the other guy? There's some cap guy there or something that it was 2-on-1.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't buy that's what happened. I think Kyle Shanahan cannot stick to a decision. And I think of course he wanted Mac Jones to start with. And then he had 4 months to talk himself into something else. And he's that 30-year-old guy who just has a wandering eye.
Man, I wonder if he has a wandering eye, though, on the franchise. Like, does he end up jumping from the 49ers somewhere else?
I don't know. I mean, listen.
It's like a Jim Harbaugh thing. Not where he wears out his welcome like Jim Harbaugh or where he just burns people out. But is he somebody who's just going to constantly be sort of skipping around?
I don't know. I mean, if he doesn't win, he could get fired at some point. But he's never really stayed with a quarterback, has he? How many different quarterbacks? He's worked with about 8 different quarterbacks.
Well, but that's also when you're working your way up the ranks, you go where the best opportunity is. So you go from Washington, his dad is there. You go to Atlanta, you're there with Matt Ryan, who wins an MVP. Like, I get that. That's just climbing the ladder.
So he had RG3. And he burned him into the ground. Then he was in Cleveland. I don't remember much of that. Then he had Matt Ryan. Yeah, I just think that he doesn't know what he wants. Is that fair to say? I mean, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of rhyme or reason.
I like it as a theory. For me, if you're talking about Trey Lance franchise or flop, if you put my feet to the fire...
How many Trey Lance games have either of us watched? Let's be realistic.
Well, how many has he played?
He's 22. I know.
The guy's played in 0 games. He's a whisper.
We're answering this question on pure speculation. He's thrown like 1/3 the amount of balls of anyone else on this list.
We should be able to make a determination about the rest of his career on what we've seen so far. We wouldn't be doing our jobs if we did.
No, get out of here.
I'm just kidding.
Even teams don't know what to make of this. But come on.
I'll probably say flop. Just because most guys usually are.
Okay.
More guys flop out than our franchise. Okay, let's move on to Justin Fields.
Yeah. Justin Fields could have the arm strength of Patrick Mahomes, the savvy of Tom Brady, the escapability of Russell Wilson. And because he's wearing a Chicago Bears helmet, he will be a flop. Because that is a franchise that will never have a good quarterback as long as I am alive. And I don't even think that's a hot take. Just look at the recent history or all history.
Just crack open the history books. I think that Justin Fields, if I can borrow from one of your earlier takes, I think he is a franchise quarterback for a different team.
Yes, that makes more sense.
Yes, it will not be for Chicago. It will be for somebody else. I'm not sure who.
But he's another guy. This is a cop-out. It's impossible to tell because what we're seeing in Chicago is not giving him a fair chance.
Let's move on. Of course, Mike Samter would get Davis Mills on this list, and he deserves to be on this list.
I mean, he's starting.
Is he a franchise? Is he a flop?
Are we skipping Mac? Or are we going to
Mac Jones.
Yeah. Well, if we're going in draft order, let's do Mac Jones first.
Okay, Mac Jones. Mac Jones is franchise to me.
Flop to me.
Really?
Yes.
He's made the playoffs in his first year.
Something's going on there. That's
not his fault. Something's going on that you got Matt Patricia and Joe Judge that are the people running the offense.
It doesn't matter. The Patriots better. If they don't get to the playoffs this year, then you're going to look at this and say, well, what are we doing here? What is Belichick doing?
Might not be his fault.
It might not be his fault, but if there is a change at some point away from Belichick, then Mac will probably go. I don't know.
You think Belichick's retiring?
Well,
no
how many
chance.
I don't know. It just feels like if they miss the playoffs this year, then the post-Tom Brady era is not looking great.
It doesn't look great, but here's the thing about Belichick. I think he keeps going until he wins another one. And Mac Jones, I think, is your best shot. You're not going to start over with another rookie quarterback or bring in a free agent next year? I don't see it.
What if they're bad? I don't think they're going to be. What if they're 6-11? You don't think that they'd move on?
No, I do not. I mean, he's a first-round pick. Why would you move on? I mean, Belichick's also their GM, so you want to be smart about a guy on a rookie deal.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is a segment. We're doing franchise or flop.
I think he's franchise. I know they had Cam Newton as the bridge, between Tom Brady and then before they drafted Mac Jones, but I don't see them bringing in another free agent guy. I think it's Mac's team.
Well, franchise means that he's going to sign a second contract.
I think he gets a second contract.
You think he'll be a $40 million a year quarterback?
I think he's going to be whatever it takes to keep him there. Listen, Brady wasn't signing $40 million deals. He was taking team-friendly deals to build a team around him. So I don't know what the number is going to be, but I think Mac Jones gets a second contract from Belichick.
So he's going to be there 10 years.
I think so. I don't know if Belichick will be there 10 years.
But Mac
will be there.
Okay.
Belichick always said he didn't want to be coaching. He always used Marv Levy as the example. Yeah. He didn't want to be that guy, older guy on the sidelines. But he's 70 now, and he doesn't look like he's slowing down.
I don't know. For me, Mac Jones, I put him in the Ryan Tannehill category of quarterback. It doesn't feel like 10 years on one team to me.
Okay, but Ryan Tannehill, don't forget, got a second contract for the Miami Dolphins, a big one.
Yeah, but he's on. I mean, how many years did he play in Miami, though? He was gone.
No, and he was hurt for a lot of it. But he did get that contract. I don't know if he's technically a franchise quarterback.
No. If Ryan Tannehill's a franchise quarterback, then yeah, Mac Jones could be a franchise quarterback.
All right, I think Mac Jones is franchise. And let's finish it off with Davis Mills. Franchise or flop?
Oh, I'm a Davis Mills guy. But franchise seems rich. Again, is he a franchise?
We don't have a third column here of journeyman does not exist.
Case Keenum level?
No.
Case has won a playoff game.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think he aspires to be really the barometer is Kirk Cousins. Will he be Kirk Cousins? I don't see it. Not in Houston. It's tough, but I do think they're going to be spicy this year. I think 4 games, and they're going to be a tough out in the other 13.
Yeah, I'm going to go flop here. I think he's keeping the seat warm, and I think that it's not about him necessarily. It is that siren song of those first-round picks. They got a bunch of them, obviously, from Cleveland. I don't know how good they're going to be, but you have a lot because of the Deshaun Watson trade. And I think if there's a great quarterback coming out of college, you got a whole new front office. A lot of times owners will be like this too. They want that new guy, the highly touted college guy. They can fall in love with players. I think it's going to be too much for them to ignore. And I think Davis Mills is keeping the seat warm for the next guy.
I do think they're into Davis Mills.
Well, they drafted him. Of course they are.
That's Nick Casario.
Well, actually, it's a different regime who drafted him, no?
No, I think he was Casario's first pick.
Oh, was he?
And he was, because they haven't had first rounders in forever. He's a Laramie Tunsil deal.
Right.
And that's the first pick he made as a Texans GM. Maybe there's a little romance there with it, and he gives him a chance. There's also this idea that Davis Mills is secretly an elite quarterback that should have gone much higher. That gets a lot of play because he was the number one recruit, and he's just hurt all the time at Stanford. So I don't know. I actually am higher on him in Houston. I give him more of a chance than Justin Fields. Is that crazy?
No, that's not crazy at all. New regime in Chicago, they might want their own guy. I mean, we know how this works. A lot of it is just for, dudes to save their own jobs. Once you start over with a young quarterback, it buys you like 3 years. Thank you for watching our video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to see more videos like this, just hit the bell.
Yeah, ring the bell.
Just hit the bell.